Hey guys, it's Witchy, and today I am here because a lovely little person in one of my last video or two comment section has asked if I would do a ranking of book couples, and there's quite a few here. I honestly was like quite blank when I thought about it for a little while. But I managed to pull some, and later on, of course, as I read on and keep going, and if I remember any, I will always put them in here. Um, so this is all going to be improvised. I'm picking whatever I see first in here, and I'm going from there. Um, and of course, I have to start with Percy and Annabeth. From Percy Jackson series, they I think they had the best relationship builder in the whole thing. Well, I don't know, not like the whole series, but the way that they grew together and, like, they went through hardships and stuff. And then they both came to like, hey, I actually kind of like you kind of thing. It's amazing. I do think they're absolutely soulmates. Um, Mostly because just I enjoyed how the story unfolded together. And then it wasn't cringy. It wasn't. I mean, it was a little obvious, but it wasn't too obvious because there was, times where it seemed that Percy wasn't gonna be with her, and she wasn't gonna be with him. She had that whole crush on Luke for a little while. How that turned out. But I think I don't really know if there's anything else to say about this. I think they're absolutely soulmates. Next up is Tate. Oh Lord, what was her name? Give me a second. Ethan and Lina. These guys, I read the books only a little bit. I do remember watching the movie, but I did read the book. My sister actually helped me with this one because I was like having difficulties remembering. But these two are very. I'm kind of I'm kind of in between with this one because I love the story. I love the whole you I want to be with you but you can't be with me because it's forbidden kind of thing, or I have a dark side, and the other person's like, oh, it doesn't matter if you have a dark side. But the whole, I guess how it played out was a little weird to me. um I don't excuse me, I don't remember absolutely everything, but I definitely feel like there was a moment where she should have let him go kind of thing. Of course, if you've read the books, you would know what I'm talking about. Um, but I think oh, not that one. I just think they're perfect. They're definitely there. Uh, let's put them in couple goals. Just just in case. I mean, not that what happens in the book with them is absolutely couple goals because some stuff really happens, but I think they're pretty close. So next up, oh boy, this might be a little controversial, but we have Zoe Redbird from the House of Night series. And this character with any of her love interests. Um, some of them are okay. Most of them are not. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of stuff that happens in the book that just makes me upset. There's a bunch of characters that really would have been okay. They would have been able to be stay together, but the author obviously needed to add in drama to continue the book series, etc. So her with Eric was her with Stark was her and Heath, and then even the ending, like, oh, what was his name? I think it was Heath who came back. By the way, yeah, it's a very crazy series. Maybe I'll talk about it one day. Um, but it was a big part of my teenagehood, so I definitely loved it. But I do see why it's a bit cringe and in kind of weird. Because I used to think, oh, awesome. I want to be like Zoe. I just, now that I'm like as an adult, I'm like, wow, there was a lot going on there. But her with any of them, absolutely no, just a no. On that note, Aphrodite, and Darius, absolutely loved. I felt like her redemption, or if you would want to call it redemption, I guess, just just it was great, okay? I think it was great. And the way that they showed that he absolutely cared for her, and she just was like so confused. She was like, "Why? What do you, you know?" Because I think at one point she tries to push him away, but then she like realizes, "Oh, hey, you're actually like me for me, you know, or whatever." And I just think that they're definitely a couple goal situation. Their story was way better, and she definitely was not like Zoe, where she was bouncing back and forth between men. um, oh Lord, I just remembered the whole situation with the teacher. Zoe. Anyway, anyway, we're moving on from that. Um, I definitely think that Aphrodite's and Darius's relationship helped her grow more, like as a character, and more being able to better stand, because she was known as the bitchy character. She was the rival to the main character, but then she kind of grew and became friends with them, But anyway, moving on. Oh gosh, I have to talk about this book. I read this book in middle school, and I thought it was the most amazing thing ever. But then I remembered, it was a little weird. Um, the book's called Immortal, and the couple is Evie and Sebastian. And Sebastian is immortal, as you can imagine. I don't remember if he was like a vampire. I don't think he was a vampire, but he is immortal, and they fatally meet one day. She, of course, looks like one of his one of the ladies that he liked back in the day, kind of thing. And I don't know how I feel. I don't remember her exact age, because I'm not too keen on ages being like, because he's immortal, so he's like 1,000 years old, and she's kind of like, I think she was 16. She might have been 18. She goes to a new school, I believe. It's been a while. I have to read it again, but I don't know. I just think that, um, I think their relationship was okay. There were some issues. Um, that if I read the book, I could probably tell you right now what it was. I don't remember. Um, it was definitely okay, and I think there's a sequel to the story, so maybe I'll get it one day and I'll read the sequel or something. But I definitely just, you know, another one from a book series that I absolutely adore, The Raven Cycle by oh gosh, Maggie. I don't want to like mess up her last name. I'll put it somewhere. But Maggie, it's by Maggie Streifinger, something like that. And that is Adam and Ronan. They I I kind of knew that they were going to be a thing because unfortunately I was a Tumblr girl, and around the time when I was reading it, which was around high school, um I was very much on Tumblr, and I discovered the book series from Tumblr, and a lot of the pictures and quotes and stuff that I would see would be of them, and I kind of just was like, I think they're going to be a thing. Um, Imagine my surprise when I read the first half of the Raven Boys. Anyway, I definitely think they had time to grow. Definitely Adam. He had a lot of things happen to him, and I mean they all did, unfortunately. If you've ever read the series, they all have, unfortunately. But him and Ronan as a couple growing was nice. You see Ronan kind of coming to terms with actually liking him. Like he likes, like at first he's like, oh, it's nothing, and then he like, I got a crush, and then you see him kind of going through that, I guess, and it never is like a only this is my story kind of thing. Me getting with him is my only story kind of thing. They both had well adjusted stories, and their love, like their dating, just was kind of like in the background, and it was kind of like a meeting point for them. It wasn't like anything. It helped their stories grow, I guess, if that makes sense. They're definitely couple goals. I'll tell you that. I think they're couple goals. They do, I definitely like them. Okay, so next is, because I forgot about this, but um, ooh, excuse me, Emmy and Joe. By the way, amazing. They they're also from a Rick Riordan book. They're from Trials of Apollo. Great book, by the way. I have to finish it. They're from Trials of Apollo, and they're this amazing couple that were. They ended up getting rid of that life so that they can grow old together. It was really sweet. Or I think one of them was like that, and then they met Joe, and then she decided to stay with her and grow old with her. I believe. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I read the book, but definitely good. I like them. They're raising a very adorable kid together, and Joe both have a adopted daughter named Georgia. Um, very sweet girl. She is kind of like a mute, I think. She I don't want to ruin it. I think it was he couldn't wrap his head around her wanting to pick mortality over immortality, and I'm a sucker for that. I'm a sucker for somebody who's like, I won't be immortal anymore so that I can be with you. I'll become immortal so that we can grow old together. That's really sweet. And I also really like when the couple's like, I want to be immortal so that we could be together, you know? But anyway, um, I don't want to ruin this book too much, but I definitely love them. Um, so you know what? Absolutely soulmates. Literally soulmates. All right, next on the list, is oh, I'm gonna save that one for last because let me tell you guys. Okay, so we're gonna do the book Ashes. Um, and that couple is Alex and Tom. Now, this story, I do have to get a little bit to backstory, a little bit about it. It's pretty much like a not post-apocalyptic. It's like a apocalyptic story where you start the story in the middle of the apocalypse happening, kind of thing. And her and Ellie, she meets up with the kid Ellie. She ends up having to take care of them because of what happens. I don't want to ruin the book a little bit, but they ended up meeting Tom, who is 26 years old. um, and I don't remember what she said her age was in the book. I want to say she was 17, maybe 18. I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure he was 26. He was like in the military. But anyway, her and Tom meet up with Ellie and they stay together. They do grow fond of each other. And at first, I was like on board with them. I was like, okay, this is fine. But then I remembered, that age gap could be a little bit of a problem. But then by the third, I think it's the third or fourth book, it the relationship just kind of becomes an issue. Um, I guess it would be okay to talk about it. They get split up at some point, and she ends up in another town, and unfortunately, she thinks that he's not alive anymore. So she ends up getting and staying and, dating another guy in this little town. And then he shows up, Tom shows up, and he's like, upset at her for doing that. And she's like, well, what was I gonna do? I thought you were gone, kind of thing. And then the relationship just, he kind of starts. It's been a long time since I read the series, but I definitely remember him being kind of a jerk to her after that, which is understandable. But like at the same time, um, there's I also think the other reason I don't want to spoil it. Anyway, they they could use some work. I'm rambling, but they could use some work. Now, The Dead Tossed Waves. This is part of a series. This is the second book to the Forest of Hands and Teeth, which is a really great book. Um, this is the second book. It follows a different character. Um, and if you've ever read it, you know what I'm talking about. But Gabri? I've always read it as Gabri, but I could be wrong. Um, Gabriel and Ellis. They. Whew, that's also another one because I do remember bits and pieces. And when I was thinking about them, I was like, okay, that's fine. It's kind of one of those situations where you're like, will they, won't they? And then they're like, oh, okay, they were, but then I don't know how to explain it. It's very weird, I guess. Um, I just think I hate to say it because I unfortunately don't remember much, but I think they're okay. I think there was some drama between her and him. I think it was another situation where she thought she lost him. The last one, the last one, and I know that this is the movie picture, but let me tell you guys, we read the book in 10th grade, so like we also got to see the book, we also watched the movie, and I adore this book. It's called And Their Eyes Were Watching God. If you've ever, had to read it or watch it, or if you want to read or watch it, go ahead. It's amazing. Um, but to talk about Janie and Tea Cake, okay? Absolutely adore them. They are going in soulmate category solely for the purpose of just them. Okay? The whole you're only telling me about your nighttime thoughts and then him showing up and saying, "Now I'm here to tell you about my daytime thoughts." Amazing. Okay? I mean, it was a tragic story too, unfortunately. And everything, that happened after what happened, like, I don't know if I should spoil it, especially if you've never watched it or read it. Like, you know what I mean? But just trust me. I feel like their relationship was absolutely soulmates. That's just my opinion. You want on your tier list? Maybe I'll post a link in the uh I'll post a link in the description. So if you guys want to go in and do your own, maybe you guys can, or tell me, how you would rank them. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video that I make. Bye.